Hi there, so I'm working on importing my game Dual Bash into GameMaker 2. And since we have layers now, I thought it'd be a good idea to do some draw optimizations to my game. But the problem I was facing is that oftentimes, I want objects to display in a certain order. For example, I'll just show you. Let's just create a range of instances. Let's call these like tiles or something. And then, okay, let's say I want 3 to appear above 1 and 2, but below 9, something like that. How do you achieve that? Well, the answer is we could create 3 layers, put objects 1 and 2 in one layer, put 3 in the intermediate layer, and put 9 on the very top layer, for example, right? But that's stupid. Like, imagine having 1,000 of these objects and having to manage 500 layers or something like that. So instead of that, I've actually created a script here with 4 functions. There are really only 2 functions to do with in what kind of order instances are drawn inside layers. Okay? So by default, GameMaker puts objects in reverse order on the screen. What I mean by that is that the last instance you put is on the bottom of everything else. And so to solve that, you can see that right-click creates an instance. If I go into the create event of that instance, I'm using one of my functions to move it to the top of the layer manually. And so what that does now is you will see as I create instances, they get put on the top of the layer. Now you don't have to do this. There's more options here. You could put instances above another instance in that layer. And I'll show you how that works here. So, okay, let me show you what it would look like if we were to insert our new instance above a specific instance. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set this optional parameter to the target instance, and I'm going to change this to move up. So this means that we're going to put the instance ID above target instance when it's created. Let's see how that works. So as you can see, we're creating object as normal. We get to 5. Oh yeah, now 5 gets put above itself. Well, that's a bug, but it doesn't matter. So now we put the new instances. You can see 6 was above, 7 was above 5, but it was under 6 because 6 was created earlier. 8 is above 5, but it's under 7 because 7 was created earlier. So you have this control now, okay? So you have this control now of the order in which you want the instances to draw within a single layer. Now there's more options here. You can actually change layer for an instance and have it insert above a certain object or below. You can move multiple instances into a target layer and have them be inserted above or below an object. And then you can change the draw order for multiple, this is just a single, but you can change the draw order for multiple instances. So you supply an array of instances you want to change the draw order for. So for example, if you say, if you put move top here, all of these instances, this array of instances is going to move to the top of the target layer. Now I want to show you how it works with 2 layers. So I'll create a few instances here. And then let's move 3 to the top layer, L. So we moved 3 to the top layer now. It's drawn above everything else. It's in a different layer. Now if I move another instance over here, let's say 0 is going to appear on top of that. And the reason why that happens is you can see when I press L, the function here that I'm using to change the layer of the instance moves them to the top by default. Now you can change this. You can say, oh, okay, I want to move them to the bottom by default instead of top. And this is how that's going to look. So if you have a bunch of instances, you move this one to the top layer, and then you move this one. This one's going to be on the bottom now of the layer. Always, the newest instance is going to be on the bottom. So you have control over this now. And it's very cheap to run this because you don't need to run this every single step, just when you want to update the draw order of instances. And one great thing about this is that I didn't really expect was going to happen, but it actually does, is on the GUI layer, the instances are in the correct order as well. I didn't know this. So that's kind of fun. Because you don't need to do a separate thing for GUI drama. You can just use these same functions if you're using, if you have GUI elements as well. So this here, if you don't understand what it does, is it's showing you in what order the instances appear. So 2 is on the very top of the top layer, and then there's 5 that's below it. As you can see, that's true. Then on the bottom layer, we have 3 on the very top, 1, 0, and 4 in that order. So if I move 4 up by using my mouse wheel, you'll see it moves up in the array for both the GUI and the draw event. And then I can move it up once more. Okay. And so you can move multiple instances. You can select a multiple of them, and they'll retain their relative positions as well. So here we have 0, 4, and 6. 0, 4, 6. There's a little gap here. There's a 3 in between. But if we move these 3 together, you'll see that they retain their relative positions. It's still 0, 4, 3 with a space in between. So you can do that. Or you can move them to the top. But if I press plus, it just moves them to the top of the layer, retaining their relative draw order. You can do the same thing. You can move them to the bottom of the layer. 640, they're on the bottom of the layer now. I'm hoping I can help somebody out with this, because I think this is a very elegant solution for the problem I was having. So the problem I was having was in my editor for my game. I'll actually show you the game. In the map editor, I want things to appear in the correct order. For example, this particle emitter, I want it to be, this particle emitter is above this image, right? But I can change this actually. So I have layer controls for objects here. I can move them to the bottom of the layer. Now this particle emitter, as well as all of its particles, are completely hidden by the image. And I'll just make the image smaller so I can show you. Now you can see the particles, right? And then if I move it up 1 increment, then the particles and the object are above the image. So that's the behavior I wanted to replicate here, but make it a bit less costly on CPU, because old GameMaker didn't have layers or any of these functionalities. So hopefully somebody else will find a use in these functions, and hopefully I made their day a bit easier. All right, so try the project out, try these functions, play around, and let me know what you think. All right, until next time.